Oh my God, it's so funny how we always start these shows because I think that people, what is this, episode number 3?
This is season 2, episode 3,
This is season 2, episode number 3. And if you've never heard of me before, my name is Do It Like Danny. You're probably wondering who the hell, what the hell, and why the hell. And I often think of that every single day also too. But this was my cousin Lewis's idea, who you're going to see. He's over there on that side. And yeah, this is the story of my life. And you're probably going to wonder, why do you need to know? Because you never know who I might be someday. And with that, welcome to Do It Like Danny. I'm going to tell a million stories, and maybe one will hit home, and you'll be like, wow, that happened to me. And it's not about me. Well, it is. You know, television is a very, very crazy beast. I learned so much at Tyra. This is real emotion. This is something that I experienced.
I want the world to see what I have always seen, and that is the love that you have for just being yourself.
I love this person who knows who he is, who can make people laugh.
I think the script I gave you was a little bit different, but I'll take that.
Okay, sorry.
I'm drinking at work because it's my show. I drink on my show. Happy Memorial Day, everybody. Happy Memorial Day. Lewis, today's Monday, Memorial Day.
Yep, today's Memorial Day.
Today's Memorial Day, so thank you so much for all the people that served, are serving, and will eventually serve at some point in their life to defend our wonderful country. Because sometimes we do have a wonderful country, right?
Yeah, sometimes. And everybody's not attacking Target, Ford, and all other.
Oh my God, we're getting right into it. Happy Memorial Day. Let's attack Target. Here we go. We never heard drama before. We don't know drama. So Target is in the spotlight right now.
Yep.
Target's in the spotlight. I know we just said Happy Memorial Day, but the reason why probably this is such a big topic of conversation right now is because we're going into June. And June is, for the most part, I think all over the nation, has been known as Pride Month.
Yeah.
And that is when my community... I want to get that correct, right? The queers. My community gets together and we celebrate our pride. I'm actually kind of wondering why you brought up Target so quickly.
Well, I brought up Target because I saw that viral video. Have you seen it?
There's quite a few.
Yes.
There's quite a few.
I'm specifically talking about the gentleman who was attacking some of the Target employees verbally, bringing down the signs, saying they don't want these. I think they use the F word towards your community, possibly. I don't remember, but because it's hard to watch those videos because I don't see the world that way.
Yeah.
So when I see other people do it, it's an automatic ignorance from a lot of people. And I mean, you're my cousin, right? So I look at you. I love you. I love everything that you do. It's why I wanted to start this podcast. That's why I think people would find this and your stories, everything about it, funny.
His idea.
Yeah, my idea.
His
so
idea.
If it fails, it's on me.
His idea. So if you want to march and scream, it's
against me. But
cancel.
How do you feel as an older, gayer man? And I know this isn't your first rodeo. You've seen many of these videos. How do you feel about these kind of things?
I mean, the list is so long, and you know, there's a lot. There's a lot of moving parts to this. I think that let's address first the people who have no lives that have been going into Target and let's just call it what it is, harassing the people that work there and the patrons that are shopping at Target. And by the way, I mean, if I've said this before, if everybody knew these huge companies what they actually gave money to, it goes against everything that we probably could ever believe in.
Yeah.
You'd be so surprised and you'd be shocked. I mean, money is what talks. And these people that have obviously clearly they have no lives, they need to find a job, are going into these particular places. I mean, I saw one where the man destroyed the Pride display, right? And then later it came out that they found him on Grindr.
But that kind of goes back to what you've said in the past about a lot of these straight men pretend to be straight, but when they're behind closed doors, obviously they're talking to men and sleeping with men. And
Yeah, and we'll touch on that in a second because, like I said, there's a lot of moving parts to this, and people are probably wondering, like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
Right? What the hell is going on? I mean, right now we're in a point in the timeline of our lives where we should be helping each other and we should be spreading more positivity. Listen, am I guilty of saying a few things here and there? Absolutely, but I would never go into an establishment and destroy a display for anything. I mean, I feel like you're opening yourself up to all sorts of stuff. I mean, if they want to bring the Bible portion of this into it, the one thing I always say is those without sin can cast the first stone. And these people clearly have sin. Like, however you want to put it, the man that destroyed the display, he was later found on Grindr. I'm going to do this so we can show the part. Maybe there's the video or a photo of him. And you can see, I don't know who he is, by the way. I didn't sleep with him, which is great. Like, again, there's so many moving parts. There's the whole grooming. There's the weaponizing of a rainbow. There is, it all stemmed from Target, putting together a pride display because they wanted to, support the community.
Yeah.
And then it came down to where, for whatever reason, they put it on baby clothes and they put it on little children's clothes. And there were other things that were triggering words for these people because, everyone accuses everyone of being a snowflake. But here are these grown people getting upset over clothing.
Now, let me ask you a question. As a gay man, did you feel like Target went overboard a little bit with it? Like putting it on baby clothes? Like, do you care about that? Or is that something that you feel, who cares? They're kids. They probably shouldn't have that.
Well, I mean, can babies read?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. I mean, so what if it's on baby clothes?
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, you have a choice in life, right? You can choose to walk away from the display.
Yes.
Or you can choose not to.
Yeah.
But to sit there and go over someone's work, somebody that, was reached out to and they said, oh, we want to, feature your line of clothing as a pride symbol for the month of June. And then you have someone that walked in and is extremely triggered by the fact that it's on baby clothes and clothes in general. Me personally, I don't care.
Yeah.
And I know that that's maybe shocking, but like there are other things in my life that I would like to focus on, like that I would like to put forth. I'd like to help, gay and lesbian, LGBTQ, whatever, I'm sorry, let me rewind that. I have other things to focus on. I would like to help my community, whether that be with this show, with, me volunteering to be, like a therapist, some sort of positive feedback to give back to my community because I know what it's like to go through what all of these kids are going through right now.
Yeah.
There are some things, unfortunately, though, that I can't weigh in on. When someone says my child is transgender, I don't have children. I don't know what that's like. So in my personal opinion, I shouldn't have an opinion on it.
Okay.
Because it should be none of my fucking business, to be honest. If your child is who your child is, I think where the lines get blurred is when I'm an adult and my next door neighbor or my kid's classmate is transgender, and then I inquire with my child and say, did you know that? It creates hate.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've noticed, but in some of these like Target boycott videos, the children are holding signs. I made a good point right now. Babies can't read.
Yeah.
These children don't know what's going on.
Well, it stems from the top. We know that.
It really does.
Yeah.
And here you are, you're teaching your children to hate because children don't hate. Little kids love each other. They don't see color. They don't see anything that would ever, yes, there are bullies. And here they are. They, just so you know, the bullies grow up to be bullies. They never change, Marjorie Taylor Greene. And, it's really sad because these people who were bullies have strived their entire life for some sort of attention to make a mark in the world. And this is how they choose to do it. Because remember, you have choices. And they are choosing to spew hate and rhetoric that when they die, no one's going to care. And I've said this before. You have two choices when all this is done. And maybe it's different for some, but pine or mahogany are your choices.
A lot of these parents, too, are the ones that leave their kids with priests.
Oh, my God. We have so much to talk about.
We could bring that up, too. I mean...
So, that lends itself to our next topic or the next thing, which is, in addition to weaponizing the rainbow, which the rainbow's a rainbow.
Yeah.
But I want to put this in before we move on to the next thing. I watched it's the Junior British Bake Off. So if anyone's ever seen it, it's on Netflix. And this is the best example that I could give to Americans, my community, to anyone. Go and watch it. These kids are competing. They range in age from 7 to 12. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
They're young kids that are trying to bake in a competition. And if you can watch this series and you have a dry eye, well, then you're a horrible person.
Is it really that emotional?
It's beyond emotional.
Oh, wow.
Because I want people to go and watch this because you see the kids and when they get voted off, it's the saddest thing.
Is it more emotional because they're children rather if it's adults?
Well, this is part of it though, because all of a sudden, all the kids, they band together.
Oh, that's cool.
And they all hug each other and they cheer for the person, not the person that won, but they cheer for the person that's going home.
Oh, okay.
Because they all work so hard. They're all so young. And there are Indian, black, there's white, there's every single it's a very diverse cast. And when it's over, these kids have such emotion for each other and they love each other. They really do. And I honestly think that that's the only thing in my mind that keeps me sane is to know that, yes, love still exists. And love will conquer all. And I think that we just need to learn to love ourselves more. I mean, I'm guilty of it too. I mean, I always make fun. I'm a big girl and I'm a big guy. But, your body listens. Your body responds to that. If you are spewing out that hate, your body's going to ingest it also too. And it's going to turn into something else. So I honestly want to say a prayer and a blessing for all the people out there that hate on my community, because in the end, it's going to be bad for them.
Yeah.
Not for us. We're going to go through it. It's going to be water off a duck's back. I've been called the F word. I've been called everything under the book. It doesn't bother me anymore. I don't care.
Yeah.
And these people that go into Target and harass other people, and then people are on board. It's that whole cancel culture.
Oh, yeah.
It's like cancel yourself before you cancel somebody else.
They technically are. I mean, they're really aging themselves when you're still attacking a subject matter like this, which has gone through this years before you were born, years before I was born, and we're coming back to it. It's so move on already.
Well, that's another point too that we bring up, and that is this happens every June, every single June, once a year. All these major corporations decide I'm gonna slap a rainbow on a Bud Light. I'm gonna slap a rainbow on a car. I'm gonna slap a rainbow on whatever they can think of to slap a rainbow on, and they think that the community is gonna really support us. But guess what? Once the end of June once July 1st hits, it's gone.
They rip that thing right off.
They rip it off. It's gone. All that stuff is pulled. So you have two things here. You have corporations that just want money.
Yeah.
And then you have idiots who look at that and go, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening in my country. Well, listen, there's a lot of things that happen in your country. And if you're going to sit there and be upset about gay people, well, you should be upset about straight people, because now this lends itself to all these Christian and all these Catholic and all these people that are against, Moms for Liberty and all that bullshit. It's coming out now, all these reports. The Catholic Church, they're molesting little boys. The people that have been in these top positions trying to pass these anti-drag bills, which, again, at the end of the day, when you die and you go to wherever you go, and you look back on your life, that's your legacy.
That's what you're gonna be known for, yeah.
You went after a man in a wig. Because when you put it down to its basic, strip it of everything else in the emotion, it's a man in a wig lip syncing to a song.
But how many of those lawmakers are actually behind closed doors wearing wigs?
I mean, probably a lot of them.
Yeah, right.
And I make a joke now. So I get it. I get why the women are mad. You know, these poor housewives, they probably don't work, and their husbands are out working, and then their husbands come to someone like me.
I was gonna say, is that what you call it, working?
Thank you. Right? And then they go home to their wife, never knowing, never suspecting that the husband is fooling around with men.
Yeah.
It happens every single day. And, you know, going back to the transgender, you know, a man in a wig is one of the most requested performers in Vegas.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
So when men go to Vegas, especially Caucasian men, they want, and I'm just going to say it, a chick with a dick. It is what it is.
Wow.
I just broke it down like that. And you may think it's crass or it's inappropriate. I just want you to understand that is what it is. And the crazy part is the men that engage with transgender, they don't think that they're gay.
Yeah, you kind of read a lot about that.
They don't think that they're gay. They in their mind, and I've done drag before, and I will tell my stories later on, but I've done drag before, and I firsthand, I can give an opinion about this because I've experienced it. I've told them, because I'm like, listen, I don't want to end up in a ditch. I don't want some crazy Caucasian man to, you know, beat me up and be like, you're a dude. I'm like, you know I'm a dude. I just told you. I'm telling you now, I'm a dude. And they're like, that's okay. They don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that. So I could see how these Stepford wives are afraid.
Yeah.
They're very afraid because it could be their husband. I get it.
Most likely is their husband. Let's just put it out there.
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you know, you go back to also, too, there was this Texas representative that was very, very, very much for, you know, the anti-drag bill and the grooming. And we'll talk about it more in a second, but the grooming of kids and how that, whatever. We'll talk in a second. And so, you know, his whole thing was he was you know, this anti-drag. And guess what? He has to resign now because now it's coming forward that he has been having sex with underage interns.
Now, what's your opinion on that? Like, why do you think men do that? Why is it that they hate themselves so much that they fight that, even knowing when they go home that's what they are?
In my mind, it puts a buffer in this dome of not me. They never suspect me. And the guys that do that, there is a level of enjoyment that they get out of it because they're getting away with it.
That's fucking weird.
Oh, gays do it too.
It's like a pleasure thing.
I will say this. It's on both sides because I have been with gay men who have been with multiple gay men at the same time. And the joy, my COVID romance, the joy of,
Can we say his name? We can leave
oh
it
God,
out.
never. Fuck that. No, honey. No. When they ghost you, we respect the dead. We don't talk about you. Yeah.
Oh, we should cut to commercial on that one if we had one.
Yeah. Drama. So my COVID romance, you know, was with multiple. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I had no idea, and I'm learning now. You know, their guise is I'm polyamorous. No, you're a fucking idiot. Okay.
And a whore.
Polyamorous equals whore, and people are gonna be like, "Oh, that's not right." Cancel yourself, bitch. I'm sorry. You got to figure that shit out on your own.
That's so funny.
Okay, so back to the Texas man. So he was, you know, his big thing was that the gays groom, right?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I'm going to say it right now. I think the worst word to ever be used to weaponize is grooming. Because grooming to me is, you know, I'm going to comb my hair, I'm going to look good. But grooming, they say that the gays are grooming. We're grooming people. We ain't groom nobody.
When he says grooming, like, does he mean like in a sexual way or like grooming them to understand that they can be gay or they are gay at a younger age? Like, what does he mean by that?
So they mean that basically when you're grooming someone, that you're presenting an environment where, yes, you're making it okay.
Well, it is okay.
Correct. But in their mind,
It's not.
It's not. Yeah. And you're grooming someone. But I hate to break it to you, it's on every single level.
Yeah.
It's not gays. I mean, I'm sure it exists in there somewhere, and I'm sure that they're in jail for probably doing something really bad. But now it's the, religious people saying that they're grooming, when meanwhile they've raped little boys. Okay. And now you have these representatives who are in top positions who are saying that they're grooming, and guess what? All their stuff is getting released.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
You can't hide anymore. Yeah. And, piggybacking onto that, it kills me when people are up in arms about the drag thing. I mean, I'm dating myself, but I don't know if you remember a show by the name of MASH.
Yeah.
And there was a guy who dressed in drag on that show that was everything on that show. A hilarious man. Nobody was up in arms then. I don't hear them. I didn't see any type of protests. Pride's coming up. The Proud Boys are going to protest it. But yet they wear masks. They fought against wearing masks.
To wear masks.
Because it hides their identity.
Yeah.
If you're such a fucking Proud Boy, why don't you not wear a mask? I'm just saying. I mean, I know times are hard right now. I mean, they're probably trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
But also too, Ally McBeal. I don't know if anyone ever saw Ally McBeal. I'm Angelo right now. I'm
really
totally dating
back.
myself.
That's like 1998.
Yeah. So listen, Ally McBeal was the very first show to feature on camera a unisex bathroom.
Yeah. I remember that.
But there were scenes in there where the women would pop their heads underneath the stall, and the men would be in there like, like all surprised and scared. So I think it's funny now that people are so up in arms about, the usage of restrooms. I get it if you're transgender. Listen, I'm going to be honest. I know friends that are lesbians that they go to the restroom in the female restroom because they're a female, but they're a lesbian, and they have masculine-like qualities, and people think, oh my God, there's a man in there. And that's not a man, it's a woman.
Yeah.
But it's like, who fucking cared? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if someone's using the female restroom, you poop and you pee in there. Who wants to be looking for sex? I don't know. That's just me personally.
People do though.
Maybe they do. Yes.
People do. Who was that? This happened a couple years back. It was like a congressman
George
or
Michael?
something. No, it was a congressman. He put his foot, under the stall, and they do the tapping.
Yeah.
He was
got
caught.
Well, again, a proponent for anti-gay everything. Was in the airport bathroom and got caught by undercover, and he was tapping his foot. Here's the crazy part. That actually happens. And I have it on video. I got to go find it.
What?
On
You
an
actually
old
have
phone.
that on video?
So I'm totally going off on this totally side story. And I have proof. I have proof. I went to Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios, right? And I had to pee so bad. I was like, I go to the bathroom. So I went to the restroom. I didn't pay, of course, I never pay attention. There was this huge tall guy following me. Like, he had been like 6'7". Huge dude, right? So at Universal Studios, there is a restroom that's in the lower lot that has plenty of stalls. And there was nobody in the bathroom. There was no reason for this man to... I went into a stall, right? He went into the stall right next to me. So I'm peeing, and I see a foot slide underneath. And it begins to tap. And I'm like... Nobody's ever going to believe me. I need to get my phone. And I immediately got my phone, and I started recording, right?
What kind of shoes was he wearing?
They were like black. Like shoes. And I'm like, this is not happening. Of course, obviously, I didn't tap back. I'm at Universal Studios.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? Like,
Well, come on. Let's be honest. That's not your first time.
That's Danny After Dark.
We'll get to those stories later. But I'm surprised. I'm proud of you.
How dare you? I'm anti.
I'm very proud of you that you're like, I had no time for that tonight.
I will not be groomed. So yes, it does exist. It does happen. You know, it's I don't know. It's a weird. I think for the men that do it, I think it is a sense of I'm getting away with something. There's an edge and a level of, ooh, this is hot. But I mean, meanwhile, you could go to jail.
Yeah.
you could get in big trouble. Yeah, big trouble. So, you know, with all of that being said, all I can say, in my personal opinion, is leave people alone. Yeah. Like, let people live their lives.
Yeah.
The only thing that I can kind of give my 2 cents on, again, and that is if your child is transgender. I personally have a little bit of an issue with that. As a gay man, I don't know what I would do if my child was transgender. I can't weigh in on that because I know that when you turn 18, you are a legal adult that can do whatever you want. And I just don't think I would interrupt my child's hormones. I have an issue with that.
Yeah.
I mean, if God made you, you're going to eventually figure it out.
Well, it's not only that, it's the natural state of things. So if you start to interrupt it, what kind of...
You're playing God.
What kind of damage that might have later on? You just don't know.
And what if the child decides, oh my God, I don't want to be a woman or I don't want to be a man?
And it's kind of weird because there's some reports are coming out where some people have said, I kind of wish I would have waited and not have done it so early. And now I kind of regret it. There's not a lot, but I have read a couple of those going around the internet. So, you know, it's hard to tell what you're reading.
Of course. I mean, listen, you're altering your child's DNA.
Yeah.
I have an issue with that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, listen, I went through my trials and tribulations. I turned out amazing. Hair by Ramos.
Should we put the website right here?
We'll talk about it. We'll give them a couple of shout outs. Hair by Ramos. But going back to really quick, just to kind of end the tapping of the foot and, you know, people in restrooms, I have a voice that is very distinct. Some people say it's feminine. Some people say it's distinct. Some people say they know it's Danny. Whenever I talk, I could be anywhere and I could say something and people will go, oh my God, that's Danny.
That's Danny, yeah.
My voice is recognizable. There are men that have called me faggot and have called me, I have a female voice. It could be true. It could be true. When I go and order from the drive-through window at fast food restaurants, they say the total and thank you, ma'am. So, you know, it happens. I get it. There's a lot of misdirection. There's a lot of oops. There's a lot of oops. I've been on the phone before and people have mistaken me for female because of my voice. Yes, I could choose to be like, hi, how are you? But that's not me.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to change myself. And I'm not, and also too, I'm not going to go cancel those people and be like, oh my God, you got me incorrectly. Who fucking cares?
Who cares?
Big
Yeah.
deal. When I come to the window or whenever they meet me, they're going to be like, oh, I've also been hit on by lesbians.
Oh, really?
I've been hit on by lesbians. When I lived in Vegas, I was a lot thinner, and prettier. More prettier than I'm today. And hair by Ramos.
So you really do turn them any which way.
Oh my God, I never thought of it that way. Oh God. Oh God, cancel me. Yeah, I had a very, very masculine lesbian hit on me because she thought I was a lesbian.
That's just so funny.
So it happens. It happens. Was I upset about it? No. Was I like, oh my God, I'm going to go beat your ass? Of course not.
Yeah.
It happens. We all make mistakes. We're human. That's the point of this show. I've made so many mistakes in my life. We're going to talk about them.
So in hopes that you learn from those mistakes too.
Yes. Don't think I'm a woman.
So funny.
Yeah. So, but on a happier note, let's transition to something happy. We are filming in Linda's backyard, which is beautiful and wonderful. My good friend Mighty Yee has allowed us to use her backyard, and it's really nice back here. And her neighbor Julia is an amazing singer, and she was recently in town. And I was lucky enough to be able to see her perform. She doesn't live here anymore. She lives out of state now.
Uh-huh.
So her voice is incredible. She's an amazing, amazing performer. The energy that she gives to you is just none like no other.
Yeah.
It's very like I showed you a clip, and here's a clip. Lily show you a clip. I don't know how we do this. I don't know where I'm at. There'll be a clip in there, and her name is Julia, and I don't want to mess up her last name, but it's Othmer. So again, it's Julia Othmer.com. Julia Othmer. Or Othmer, I think it's Othmer. Yeah. So again, Julia Othmer.com, and she's also on iTunes. I can't talk today. She's also on iTunes, and the name of her album is called Sound or Name Sound. Again, her and her husband James, he's also amazing. He's part of her producing team, and she just sings so wonderfully. And I'm hoping that you will see this and you'll have an opportunity to go and listen to her. Our favorite song is freaking awesome. She sings this really great song about how life has its ups and downs, but we're all freaking awesome. So Louis will put a clip and you can see it. And thank you again, Julia, for blessing us with your amazing voice. It was really a wonderful time to be had by all. In addition to that, I also went to go see the musical 6.
Was it good?
Oh my God, it was so good. I mean, Julia was amazing because it's like, but live theater is just so amazing. It was amazing. If you don't know what it is, it's here until June 10th at the Pantages Theater. And we'll put up a logo and we'll put up something to help about Pantages.
And for those of us who don't watch live theater, what's it about?
Oh, so 6 is about the 6 wives of Henry VIII.
Okay.
And it's their story. Anne Boleyn, Catherine of Aragon, and like I forgot the other names, of the other ones, but those are to name a few of them. You can obviously look it up, and you can look it online. The seats are very affordable. They're not bad at all whatsoever, and any seat is a great seat. And the reason why I say that is because there's not a lot of set changes. It's like 90 minutes long. It's quick. It's fast. There's no intermission, and in addition to that, it's like a rock concert. So you really want to like get into it and dance. I mean, that's the one thing about Los Angeles.
It's like a musical kind of thing?
It is a musical, but it's great. It's so good. And they sing so well. I mean, in addition to Julia, but I'm just saying it was great. So if you get a chance to see it, it's here until June 10th. Luckily, Memorial Day, Monday. Yes, you have time.
So she's, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but she's a singer and she does live theater?
Well, I mold those together. Julia
gotcha.
is a live singer that has her own albums.
Oh, okay.
And is on iTunes. I'm assuming also Spotify. Sound is the name of her album. And then 6 is a separate musical together. I just happened to have a very busy week with all of that.
Got it.
So, I was doing it like Danny. at the musical. And thanks to Linda, we were able to get tickets. And it's great. And there's still tickets available. Any seat's a good seat.
And speaking of live theater, what's going on with you and your story?
Oh, live theater.
Have we left that part behind, or are we going back?
We have to go back, and I have to mention this too. So, in our last episode, apparently the squirrel, Hector, ran across in the background, and Angelo caught it. He goes, "What is that squirrel running around?" His name is Hector. He actually has a name. And he likes to rob Linda of all of her vegetation, oranges, you name it. So you may see him every now and then again in the back. Maybe we'll play a drinking game one day. But back to my story. And where were we? Oh, my God, we have so much to talk about.
You were coming back to L.A.
Oh, wow.
New York was finally over for you.
That's right. In our last episode...
Like really last episode, like
really the penultimate episode to our last episode, or I'll just say in our last season. In our last season, I came to be. I was born. I detailed my life in the food industry. I detailed my life in school, some stories. I detailed my very first love, Jared. I detailed another love of mine, Jimmy. I moved around the nation. I moved to New York. My life changed completely when I moved to New York. I shared the friends that I've made, the friends I will continue to make, and all of the amazing people along the way that have peppered and dropped into my life and have made me who I am. I didn't become this overnight. I became this person because of you, all of you. And this goes to any single person that I've ever crossed paths with, any single person that I've ever performed with, anything, anyone that I've ever even had an opportunity to break bread with. It's all because of you. Again, I wouldn't be who I am if it weren't for my family and the support of my cousin and my sisters and my mom, everyone. So I want to thank you because last season to me was amazing. It was my growth. I got an opportunity to kind of, see where this could be, where I could go, and who I could become. And this is what I'm kind of becoming. So I'm enjoying it. And welcome to season number 2. And with that, in our last season, I detailed everything, as I just said before. I just gave you poured my little heart out, just to give you a little bit of a recap after the right? I got an opportunity to shoot a pilot here in Los Angeles. Thank you, John. And I came from New York. I shot the pilot, and then I flew back to New York, working on other shows. Thank you, Dana. And was still with the Jimmy. We were madly in love. I think we were going on probably almost 2 years, I think. God, I'm so bad with I'm so bad with dates.
Wasn't that long ago.
I know, that's the sad part. Well, I mean, it was 2000, what, 9, 10?
Yeah.
So it was a while ago, right?
Decade and some change.
Jimmy, hi, Jimmy. And that's the nature of television. Shot many pilots in my career.
How many would you say?
Oh, God.
Off the top of your head.
Over 10.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Over 10. Definitely.
And how
over
many
10.
of those saw actual airtime?
1.
What? So do the math on that. How many
1.
pilots do we not see on a regular?
Oh, there's tons of pilots.
That's crazy.
Pilots are always taping.
Yeah.
There's always somebody that's trying to get somewhere, especially in talk television.
Yeah.
But yeah, only the one, which is the one we're about to talk about. And so I shot the pilot, and the name of the show is called The Talk.
So you were there from the beginning.
I was there from the very from inception.
Yeah.
I was there from the very beginning when they were in the selection process of the hosts.
Who were the original hosts that you can remember off the top of your head?
Sharon Osbourne, Julie Chen, Aisha Tyler. No, not Aisha. I'm sorry. No, shit. Oh my God, this is so bad. Hold on, I don't have my fingers up. Sarah Gilbert was original. Julie Chen was original. Sharon Osbourne was original. Leah Remini was original. And Holly, I always mess this up. Holly Robinson Pete or Holly Pete Robinson.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. Where is she? Yeah. Anyways, hopefully she's alive. Hope she's doing well. Thoughts and prayers. But before we jump into that, let's kind of do the build up. So I had flown from New York to shoot the pilot. I worked for a few weeks on it, and then they had stopped it. Something happened, and I flew back to New York to go work on other projects.
Yeah.
Then finally they gave the green light. I flew back. I worked on it. We shot the pilot with the 5 women that I just mentioned, and was told that they were trying to push for the show to premiere.
Yeah.
At the time, because of Julie Chen and because of her husband being Les Moonves working for CBS, there was a high probability that the show was going to get picked up. And that was the reason why she was included. Julie Chen had come from Big Brother, and before that she had been working for the news. And in a weird roundabout way, when I interviewed at Nate Berkus, one of her original executive producers interviewed me. His name was Zev Shalev, and I will say his name.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And
we talked about him.
obviously hated my interview. I didn't get hired. He got fired like the next week. But he worked with Julie. And what I hear from rumor mill from Julie's team was that he was a jerk.
Yeah.
So there was that. But moving forward in a positive way, it was kind of cool because here was an opportunity to work on a show where there were 5 women, not just one, not just a Tyra.
Yeah.
You know, there was 5. So in my mind, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be so much fun. Like Sharon Osbourne, she's Ozzy's wife. She's done so much. She's such a polarizing character. It's going to be great. Julie Chen, she is in the news. I love Big Brother. I don't watch anymore after the show. But anyway, we'll talk about it later. But
Flashbacks.
up until that point, I was an avid fan.
Yeah.
I was a huge fan of Big Brother. I watched it all the time. I even went to a couple of tapings because I was just like, I love it.
So
right?
it's still that fantasy phase kind of
It
thing.
was that fantasy
Yeah.
phase thing, and it was great because an executive producer who I'd worked with before by the name of John, was spearheading it, and it was great. I mean, it just seemed like it was going to be this amazing family. Leah Remini was on King of Queens. She was amazing.
Yeah.
So hilarious, so funny. I was so excited to meet her. Holly, I always mess up. Poor Holly. Holly Robinson Pete or Holly Pete Robinson. Just Holly. She was from, what was that, Jump?
I think it was Hanging with Mr. Cooper, right?
Yes, and she also did 21 Jump Street. That's
did?
where I know her from.
Okay.
Because that was way back.
That was way back,
Way back, yeah. Way back. And so it was great because here there was Sarah Gilbert, who in my mind, like, how exciting to meet somebody from my community, right? Sarah Gilbert was known for her,
She was Darlene from Roseanne. We can't forget that
thank
one.
you.
Come
Well, that
on.
was really all I remember her from. Was she in anything else? I don't.
I don't think so. Not that I can think of off the top of my
And
head.
then, she was on Saturday Night Live where she did this hilarious skit where it's like really well known where now Chris Farley, he's like, I'm starving, right?
Yeah.
People will watch that clip. They don't realize that she was also in that clip
Yeah.
and it was a part of that whole entire skit. So go watch it because it's really funny.
She was also in Big Bang Theory too, but I know her from Roseanne.
Yes.
Yeah.
And did she create Big Bang Theory? She had something to do with Big Bang. She was executive producer or
maybe.
something with Big Bang
That
Theory.
makes sense why she was in so many episodes then.
That probably was it.
Yeah.
I don't know how that worked out if I didn't research it. That's
Yeah.
my bad on that part. Oh well. We're gonna be
we
okay.
don't have
with that
anybody
one.
yet to look it
Sorry,
up for us.
sorry, Sarah, watching Paint by Dry Gilbert. Okay, anyway, so So I was excited and hoping that it would get picked up, right? You shoot the pilot, you never know. I really didn't have any thoughts of it could have gone either way. I go back to New York. Here were the things that were weighing on my mind. I was in a wonderful relationship with Jimmy. I had to prepare him
For what was
if
coming,
in the
yeah.
event the show got picked up. And that was probably one of the hardest things to do because I had never been in that situation before. I had gotten into a situation with Jared in my first relationship where I got picked up to go to Arizona and I said yes immediately. And I didn't even think about asking Jared. I just did it. And that was one of the things that hurt our relationship. You know,
Is that because you didn't take it seriously?
I don't know.
Like as a relationship?
I knew we were in a relationship and I did take it seriously because I absolutely loved him. Like it's so funny because I was thinking about the other day and I was like, wow, like I've experienced so much in my life and I will always love Jared. I don't think that a day goes by that sometimes one of his zany stories or one of his, insane things that he would tell me or do, he made me laugh.
Yeah.
And I think that is always going to be the key to my heart, besides combing my hair, is making me laugh. Because I like to make people laugh all the time. I don't think my partners ever took enough time to make me laugh, but Jared made me laugh.
Yeah.
Jared really used to make me laugh. I will always love him. Yes, it's over and done with. People will be like, oh, you're still not over him. Okay, whatever it is, what it is. You can call it what it is. I've moved on because clearly that was 2,500 years ago. I ended up getting into a wonderful relationship with the Jimmy, who I will also always love for the rest of my life. Period. But we'll get more into that because Jimmy is definitely very special.
Yeah.
And so, because remember, as you grow, you don't want to make the same mistakes again. I remembered that I had done that to Jared by just accepting.
Yeah.
And I wanted to prepare Jimmy for the inevitable that, I had to find a job. It's expensive. Our rent was like $4,500 a month. And yeah, I had another roommate, but, I got to come up with my half of the rent. It's expensive in New York.
Yeah, no, you're right.
So, I began the hunt to try to find a position. The majority of positions were popping up in Los Angeles. And that's the reality. I had to prepare my roommate. I had to do a lot. It wasn't just as easy as just leaving as everybody thought.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, oh my God, you're leaving me. I had to leave Magali. I had so many friends there. Like, I had made a life for myself. And I only lived there for 5-ish years?
But the way you make it seem, you almost felt like you lived there for a decade or so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I feel like that was a pinnacle in my life where I really grew. I learned that I could do anything.
Yeah.
I moved to a new state, city, not knowing a damn person. And the only positive thing going for me was that I had a job. I didn't know where I was living. I slept on the floor. Yes, this princess, I slept on the floor. I slept on the floor for 2 months. I slept on the floor. So it's funny when people say, oh, he needs to have the best of the very best. I will make do with whatever.
What you have, yeah.
Honestly, nothing is beneath me. It never has been. Nothing is ever going to be beneath me. I will do whatever it takes, and I will shovel shit, and I'll do whatever. I'm not that person. And so, I had the conversation with him. He was upset. And I said to him, because listen, long distance, if you can do it, God bless you. But it doesn't work.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's very tough. It doesn't work. And I don't mean to be so negative about it. And listen, if you've made it work, God bless you.
Yeah.
But I think when it works, I think there's other things that are involved. I think there's property involved, whether it's a home.
Kids.
I think there are children.
Yeah.
There are kids that are involved. There are things that tie you together and continue to hold that bond that you know better than to fuck off or stray or do whatever because you have someone that you have ties to.
Yeah.
And not that I didn't have ties to Jimmy or to Jared, but, I'm a man. We can do whatever we want.
You're also very
technically.
free-spirited. You do kind of move around.
Yeah, I do.
You like to.
I do. I definitely do like to move around.
Now, when you say he was upset, was he angry or was he hurt? What are we going to do?
I presented it to him. I said to him, because I wanted to protect him.
Yeah.
And I said to him, if you want to break it off, I get it. I understand. I don't want to, but I don't expect you
to follow me. Yeah.
To follow me. Don't do that. You have to go. If you want to go, it's for you. Don't follow me because whenever you do it for somebody else, it never works out.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
And he said to me, no, he says, I'll start looking for jobs. And I was like, oh my God, wow. Here was someone who was in my life that I didn't think he was going to move. Jimmy's very quiet. Anyone that's ever met Jimmy, yes, Jimmy can, shine and make you laugh. But there's few moments of that because he's so quiet.
Yeah.
Everyone loves Jimmy. Everybody loves Jimmy. Everybody, not me. I'm like Joan Rivers. I'm Joan Rivers, divorced 85 times. I don't have Botox, but I will eventually get it.
We all were a little surprised when Jimmy was gone. I remember that day.
Yeah. And so, Jimmy was just a wonderful person.
Yeah.
Everyone that even still to this day, when you introduce him, they're like, oh my God, he's so nice. He's just quiet. Yeah. The interesting part is that he's also a Leo. We're both the same sign.
So technically you shouldn't have worked out, but you did.
Yeah, because he was a completely different kind of Leo.
Yeah.
He was the quiet one, and he let me be me. And I will always appreciate that about him, is that he always let me be me. I don't know, sometimes he might have gotten jealous because of who I am. Not to bring negativity into it, but a couple of times he would say, oh, well, they'll do it for you. Like if there was something that needed to be like a table or go talk to them. They'll do it for you. You'll get whatever you want. You always get whatever you want.
You have that personality though. You know how to bring people's defenses down because you make them laugh. So they automatically feel like they know you.
Well, Jimmy can get whatever he wants too. He's just quiet about it.
That's a good deflection.
Yeah.
That's a good deflection. I like that.
So, listen, I'm in a wonderful relationship with the Jimmy, but also he was living the straight life. The mom didn't know he was in the community. I want to say a different word, but his sister knew, I think. I can't remember. Oh,
no,
God, Jimmy,
I believe you mentioned she did know. She was the only one who did know.
I think she knew.
Yeah.
I don't know if his nieces and nephews knew yet. One of the nieces may have known because their kids are smart. They're not stupid. Kids are very, very smart. They're so in tune. They know. When you walk up and you say hello to a kid and then they're like, oh, you have a girl's voice. Like, mm-hmm. Oh, kids, they know. They ain't got no filters. They got no filters at all whatsoever. I knew all of his friends knew. In terms of family, because I really never met them. I met the mom once. But she gave us a ride. It was a New Year's Eve party, and she gave us a ride.
Yeah, I remember you told that story too, yeah.
That was and she literally, I got her in the rearview mirror. She never really met me. And so here we were trying to figure out how to make it work. So much was weighing on my shoulders because here now I have this wonderful person that's in my life, the Jimmy. And I have now all of these things to contend with. I had a roommate by the name of Chris who had been with me since Ellen. She was my boss at Ellen. I was her boss at Tyra. She ended up getting hired at Nate Berkus, but it was just as an entry, like, you know what I mean? It wasn't like a supervising position. And that was great. She had a job.
Yeah.
But now for someone like me who was a supervisor, it was harder because now I was learning that this little statue is amazing and wonderful, but it also puts a target on your back in terms of
cost,
this person's going to want more money. This person's going to, all these things start to come to light. And I learned really quickly. Luckily and thank goodness, John was very adamant about me becoming audience producer for The Talk, and it was great. So I knew that I had somebody in my court to kind of protect me and help me. So that was helpful. Show got picked up. Now I got to figure out how to move all my stuff, and Jimmy has to figure out his exit date. So the way that it worked out was I ended up moving to Los Angeles first, and he came 2 months later.
Okay.
But he still had no job. So he had to figure out all of that, right? A lot of pressure. I
was just going to ask that. How did you feel? Because this is the first time somebody's going to follow you. So, and I don't think your initial reaction, or maybe your initial thought, he probably wasn't going to follow you. I'm sure you thought that. So that when he did that make you feel like, oh shit, now this is a real serious thing?
There was more pressure.
Yeah.
The saving grace was I knew coming back into Los Angeles, I had my family.
Yeah.
And I could go live with my mom for however I needed to. And I did. I lived with my mom for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. I think it was less than 2 weeks. And then I found a place. I immediately found a place. And thanks to my friend Michael, who lived in this building, I was able to, again, the Danny of it all, right? I didn't even have to apply for anything. I literally met the landlord. May her soul rest in power. She's passed on. She ended up getting cancer. But I met her. Her name was Lisa. And I met her, and she says, if you want it, Michael, you can take it. And I was like, I'll take it. I didn't have a bed. I didn't have anything. I actually slept on the floor. I slept on the floor.
For another 2 months?
Luckily only a couple of weeks.
Oh,
but I
that's
had
good.
no problem. I slept on the floor. But it was just... it was interesting to have my own spot being back in Los Angeles. It was really, really neat. The homecoming was amazing because of my family and my sisters and everybody. And, you know, to reinsert myself back into their life, it took a minute. So there's lots of things coming into it that were on my shoulders, and I don't think people really understood that. Number one was, you know, I had to support myself, which I always have. And I have a second person that I have to kind of contend with and make sure that they're okay. I had to make sure that he has a job. And I was fully prepared that if he didn't get a job, that I would pay the rent. And I had no issues at all. That's the one thing about Jimmy and I. We never really fought. We never fought about money. It was what it was. And, you know, now that I don't have a lot, he's helped me out. You know, and we've gone to Hawaii, and Dana, and everyone has been so wonderful in helping me out, you know, so to speak. And we'll get there again. But we go through our trials and tribulations. Yeah. And at that moment, I was, again, at the top of my game. You know, here we were going into this wonderful show with those 5, in my mind, wonderful ladies. And I was caught up in the whole minutia of, it's wonderful to be in television. I'm going to LA. Oh, my God, my voice is going to get higher. I'm going to end up talking like this. Hi. Because that's how the majority of people talk in Los Angeles. Yeah. That's for LA. Everyone's very like, yeah. And I don't think that people realize that they're doing it.
No.
Because I catch myself. I'll be like, oh my God, hi. It's very Kardashian, to quote the Kardashians. Hi. That's where we are. We're in Los Angeles. Anyways, so back to getting into it. I came, I landed, I, you know, got the apartment. Here we are. I'm getting ready to start my first day over at the talk. And do we have enough time?
I think that's where we're going to have to leave people off.
Oh, my God. Yeah. So many crazy times ahead. So many crazy times ahead. I will leave you with this. This is something that I read. And it spoke to me. It made me laugh. And I hope it makes you laugh also, too. And I forgot to mention, too, I forgot to give a shout out to Gwen and Lolo, who in my reels, if you noticed, my good friend Ketha, her kids, and they're not even kids anymore. They're like teens now. It's so crazy. The reason why I want to give them a shout out, and I probably should have done this in the beginning, and I apologize, Lolo and Gwen. And the reason why is because Ketha said to me, they were watching the show, and they said, we want to tell our friends. We want everyone to watch Danny.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
No, you're going to make me cry.
So I want to say thank you so much. I should have done it in the beginning. I made a mistake, and I'm apologizing, and I'm taking note of it now. Thank you so much for thinking of me. You guys are my #1 fans, and I appreciate that. And loose fans, too.
Yeah, that's awesome. That makes me feel great.
So I will leave you with this. Live your life in a way that if it were turned into a book, Florida would ban it.
And that's where we leave you for next week.
Yes. Have a great week, and remember to always do it like Danny.